Good to be here. I'm Andrea Willey, and I'm with the Internship Employer Relations for the Office of Career Development and Internships here at PGCC. And my background is over 20 years in education, working with secondary and post-secondary adults in their professions, career development, helping people find opportunities to practice their career and become who they are. So career development has really been my focus in education. And today I'm here to talk to you about internship prep with a focus on STEM. And then instead of making the most of your winter break, I want you to make the most of your spring break. Okay? So that should say spring break, because I have a lot of tips to share with you that you can use over your spring break to prepare to find some STEM internships.
Okay, thank you so much for introducing yourself. Again, my apologies for pronouncing your name incorrectly, Andrea Willey. I'm so sorry. So floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Just trying to move to the next slide.
Just probably have to click on the presentation itself again.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm glad you're here.
No.
That's it, yeah, okay. Okay.
After this, you should go. Make sure you learn everything.
Okay, so we're focusing on STEM internships. And this is what you're going to kind of learn in this workshop. We're going to learn about the importance of planning ahead and the required documents for an internship, specifically a STEM internship. You're going to learn how to search for internship opportunities in the STEM area. We're going to talk about customizing your resume and cover letter so that it matches the description of the internship that you're applying for. And we're going to talk about an important piece, which is references, because you're going to need them not only for internships, but for your future. You're going to need professional references. Okay, so just an overview, the documents that you typically are going to need to prepare as you start applying for internships, most often they require that you create an account. So let's say you find an internship. Maybe it's with the National Institutes of Health. Okay, you got to create your application account with them. You're going to have to download a resume, download a cover letter, enter in your references, and possibly download a transcript, probably an unofficial transcript. So those are a lot of those documents that if you want to go for some of the high-level internships in the STEM field, these are the documents that you need to have available and ready. And this is also the same document you'll need when you're applying for jobs after graduation. So get started with it. You need to start a file folder on your Google Docs or whatever, and it should be career to be the name of it. And inside of it, you're going to keep your resume. You're going to keep your unofficial transcript. All of this information is going to be kept in there. Okay. Now, in this room, who has an updated resume? Yeah, great. How did you go about writing your resume? Where did you learn about it?
It's actually my first year here that I started composition class.
It was in the composition class. Excellent.
High school, then I upgraded it. So right. I've been doing it since.
You are exactly what people should be doing. You start that resume that maybe you drafted in your composition class or even in high school, and you keep it, some version of it, and you're always updating it. And then you copy it and customize it for every job every internship and job that you apply for. If you do not have a resume, we offer help here in the Career Development and Internship office. We offer workshops. There's a lot of information. If you go to our career services page, just go to PGCC pgcc.edu, search the word career, it will bring you to this link, and it brings you to the link to the workshops that we offer every month. You can also go to your advisor. If you have a draft, go into Navigate and see your career and academic advisor. They'll take a look at your resume draft and give you some feedback for improving it, okay? But always keep a Word document of your resume, because if you have it in PDF or if you have it in some sort of template, it's going to be hard to keep updating it and customizing it. So keep the one resume that's in Word, that's your central one that has everything on it. When you go to apply to something, copy it to another resume and then make the edits on the copy. Okay, and it's like you can rename it. So your main resume is in Word, you always keep it in your file. You're applying for the job at NIH, and so you copy that and you name it my resume NIH, and maybe the date is the name of that file. That's how you keep organized.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
So you mentioned the career services,
Yes.
and you mentioned we can take our resume to our academy for career advisor. So when we say career advisor, is it from through the career center or?
Well, you can add, if you have a draft and you're meeting with your academic and career advisor through SAPCAR, you can bring that with you as part of your advising session, and just they'll take a look at it and say, oh yeah, this looks good. They'll give you a little bit of feedback. Yes.
Are the workshops only for students?
No, they're virtual and anybody can participate. Okay. But there's also, I'm going to talk to you about College Central Network, which is a database that we have for our students, alumni, community members. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. It also has resources within it. You know, and there's a lot online too, you know. But you can also, if you're going for some of these big internships that I'll tell you about, I am going to give you my information, because as long as you have a draft resume and somebody's kind of looked it over, if you need help for applying for some of the internships I'm going to tell you about, you can make an appointment with me and I will help you through that process. Okay, but you got to come to me with a pretty decent resume, and we'll talk about that. And then I'll help you prep even for the interview piece of it. Okay, we want our students to get some of these big internships that I'm going to tell you about. You don't have to wait till your junior year in college. You can do it now. And if you want to wait till your junior or senior year in college, fine, but you better start planning now. You need to know this information now so that you can be prepared to get those excellent summer internships, because they're out there. Or if you need an internship to graduate with your program, we can help you with that too. Okay, so this is an example of a resume. This is not, this workshop is not about resume writing, but I want to show you STEM tricks. These are tricks for STEM, okay? Important things. So well, you can see the person's name at the top. I guess it's kind of, let's see if I can. Well, in a resume, as you know, that there's the person's name at the top. And email, phone number. For an internship, and at this stage in your career, unless you are a student who already has experience in your field, I would start with education, because the number one requirement for you to be an intern, what do you think the number one requirement to be an intern is? Pardon me?
Be in school.
Be in school. There you go. And you need to let them know right away that I indeed am a student currently enrolled. And so the way you can do that is, notice how I put the name of the degree at the top and the institution at next. A lot of times people will lead with Prince George's Community College, but what we really want them to see is that you are studying in a STEM field. So make that the first thing. You're not graduated yet, so you need to indicate that it's expected. So you put your degree up there, but you haven't yet obtained it. GPA. What do you all know about GPAs? Why are they important? Pardon me? It's grade point average, but a lot of the 3.0 is a threshold for a lot of internships. 3.0. So if you're close to a 3.0, do everything you can to keep that 3.0 or higher. If you want to go for these bigger internships. If you have less than a 3.0, don't worry. There are still plenty of opportunities, but you don't want to put your GPA unless it's a 3.0 or higher. Okay, so if it's 2 something, don't put it up there. Just don't worry about it. You don't have to have it on there. But if you have a 3.0 or higher, something to shout about, okay? Because that's an actual requirement, but for many big internships in the summer. Now, look what we did underneath that. Has anybody ever done that on their resume, the relevant coursework? Yeah. So the reason why I did that is this is a STEM internship. They want to know what math level you've attained so far. If it's not calculus 1, don't worry. But if you have calculus 1, you want to let them know that. They want to know how far along in your program you are in terms of the rigorous math, science courses that you're going to need to take. Okay. And again, if you don't have it up there, don't worry. But if you do have it, put it up there. The next section I put is skills. And these skills, some of are very technical, right? Python. I consider Photoshop to be technical. So keep it simple. You don't want to have a big old long page with lots of words saying, you know, I'm great at problem solving. Very simple so they can see those keywords right away. And if you're applying for a big internship, the computer, looks at your resume and tries to look for those words. So you want to make sure they're on there. Don't count, don't put it down here, but forget to put it in the skills. You want it right up front and center. Right? Now, experience. You'll see that this person was at the National Institutes of Health. Pretty darn impressive as a student trainee for a summer. That's the kind of thing I want to see on your resume someday. Maybe it's not NIH, maybe it's a private company that you want to work for. It could be the Smithsonian Environmental Research Center, could be International Oceanographic. NOAA, those things are out there, okay? But this person, this is their resume after they did their internship. And you'll see that because that's such an important word, that's what's highlighted, the place, right? So out of National Institutes of Health, student trainee, the word National Institute of Health is what you want to highlight, right? And Anne Arundel Medical Center. So that's how you use graphics to highlight the important things. And then they use their bullets to say, you'll see these first words here: used Excel, researched, participated in regular, okay, Asana is a software. That probably should go up here. Okay. Any questions about highlighting STEM skills on a resume or about resumes just in general? Okay. And that was not to, this is what you could strive for. Now, the next question is, where do I find these great opportunities? Number 1 right now is College Central Network. If you're not in here, you need to be in here pronto, because I'm going to tell you about more experiences that you're going to access here. That's where collegecentral.com/PGCC is where employers go when they say, I want a PGCC student. So they have an account and they post their openings, and the students have an account They set up their profile, they download their resume. The employers can see the student resumes and profiles and contact each other directly. So that's where you're going to find postings of people who say, I want a PGCC student. It also, other colleges use it, so you get access to those postings as well. So I would highly recommend you make that account as soon as you can. Another great place is usajobs.gov. Any federal internship that you apply for will require you to fill out that federal application. Because of where we live in Prince George's, there are so many different opportunities for you all. You are really in a good spot where you go to school and live, because the federal government's at our back door and they want you. So many programs to have. The trick with this is start your account, download your resume, and then you can set something in there that tells you, tell me every time an internship at the FDA comes available. And then you'll get a message, bing, in your email. Sometimes it will only be up 10 days. And then you got to get that done in 10 days. So having your document ready makes sense. Yes, question? This is all across the world. So good point. You want it, if you only want a Maryland internship and you only want it at certain agencies, you put that parameter in there. And you can pick, I only want jobs that are open to students. And then when one opens, it comes to your email and you have all your documents ready. So you can go and apply. Okay. Super important in this area if you really want to have one of those prestigious summer internships. Doesn't even have to be summer, they hire interns year round. Sometimes they call them trainees, whatever, but it's any job that's open only for students. LinkedIn, of course. How many of you actually have, if you're in this room, have a LinkedIn account? About half of you. You are at the point right now in your career that you need to have one. Even if it's just the basics, your headshot, your profile. We have a series going on right now with the Career Development and Internship Office called Linked. And it's every week, if you go onto the events at pgcc.edu, go to the events section, you'll see they're doing a little book study. You don't have to be reading the book, but if you go to the sessions, you can learn about how to use LinkedIn. So it's really worthwhile. I won't go into depth to that, but if you're applying for internships, especially the big summer internships, make sure your LinkedIn is at least up and live. Doesn't have to be fully filled. That's ideal if it is. Glassdoor is another good one. Glassdoor is a good one because you can research companies. Let's say that you're going to intern with I don't know if you ever heard of Epic. It's the company that does my chart. I don't know if you all use my chart. It's the company that's building all of the software packages to do doctor-patient online appointments and to check your records and stuff. Well, they're looking for people with computer skills. And you can go on Glassdoor and see, oh, let me look up Epic. What kind of questions do they ask in their interview? So people who've been through the Epic interview process go on to Glassdoor and post up and say, oh, this was what my interview was like. So you get the inside scoop. This is a really good one. Two other really important things, networking and cold calls. Networking goes back to the LinkedIn. You can find internships for people you know, but this is an important one. Let your professors, let your family members, let your friends know, hey, I'm looking for an internship. If you know of anything, let me know. Let people know. You never know. Cold calls. A cold call takes a lot of guts, but let's say that you know where you want to be an intern. Does anybody have an idea of a place that they'd like, dream, you know, I'd love to internship at this particular company or organization?
Well, I was aiming for this for my junior year, for Clark Construction.
Clark Construction, good. So a cold call would be you write an introductory email and attach your resume. And you go onto their website and find out their internship process with a human resources person, and you send them a message. Hey, I just want to introduce myself. You know, I'm a student at Prince George's Community College, and these are my goals. I've attached my resume. I'd love to have an informational interview, or I'd love to connect and find out more about your internship opportunities. It's a cold call. And it's effective. People are impressed when you do it. Just like if you were at a career fair, you would follow up. You'd get that person's information and you'd make sure, oh, it was a pleasure meeting you yesterday. So it's you reaching out to them, you being proactive, as opposed to posting your resume and waiting for them to talk to you. The same could be said about some of these internships, like NIH, Smithsonian Environmental Research, anything where they have a lab. A lot of times in the application, you have to pick, oh, there's a list of 20 labs. I'm going to rank my first, second, and third choice for working with that research organization. And while my application is in, I'm going to reach out and do a cold call to the person in charge of that lab and introduce myself before they even start reviewing resumes. So those are ways to help yourself stand out. And you're not being, you know, a jerk. You're being assertive, and people are impressed with it. Okay, now this is your really great opportunity, everybody. This is just a snapshot. This is not everybody, and there's like 70 different employers. But when you get back from spring break, on March 30th, we have a virtual career and internship networking event. These are some of the employers so far in the STEM area that are registered to attend. There's plenty more. There's tons of hospitals as well. There's businesses that do marketing and business areas, so lots of things. The way to register is if you have your College Central network, collegecentral.com/PGCC, either update or create your profile. And if you have a good resume that somebody else has looked at, you can update your resume. Okay. Once you're in there, when we get back from spring break, we're going to send out everybody in there the link to the Zoom event so you can get your ticket. And it's basically just, you know, an online conference with breakout rooms. You get to go into any of these rooms. We'll have the whole list available by that time. Introduce yourself. If you have your resume, share, or just, you know, it's a lot of that cold call kind of mentality where you come in, introduce yourself, you've practiced it before you get there. You know, has anybody ever heard of an elevator speech? Yes. What do you?
Like the pitch that you have prepared as if you would let your treatment for an elevator, you only have that amount of time to like put yourself through them.
Perfect. Yeah, it's a pitch. And it's as if you had your dream person who's going to hire you for that construction firm walk in the elevator at the same time you did, and you're going to the 5th floor. What would you say in those 5-floor ride to make them want to connect with you? So it's basically, hi, I'm Andrea Willey. I'm a student at Prince George's Community College, and I'm interested in a summer internship where I can learn, or where I can apply my Python skills. Okay, Python programming skills. And then, can you tell me about your business? And then this is what this is like all day long from 10 to 3. You had the opportunity to walk in. Part of it is, now that you know some of the names, like I know Cloud Course does technology engineering. Obviously, there's Drummond Projects. I believe that's construction. So and then these are all, they hire, the federal ones hire all over, any kind of field. So prepare yourself over spring break to be able to do a little research on these companies. Go in there and introduce yourself. Any questions about this particular event coming up? We do it every spring and every fall. It used to be live, and it may go back to live someday, but right now it's virtual. Is there a chat or anything that, I don't know how to look at that. Let me see. There's a ton of chats. Okay. Oh, somebody here saying that their wife, Dr. Snowden said that his son and wife work at Epic. So that's the company I was talking about that's doing all the software for healthcare. Any other questions in the chat about?
Andrea, I think there is a one student raising hand, Nyana Konkan.
Yeah, please go ahead, Yana. What question do you have?
Hello, how are you?
Hi, good.
So the question that I have is so how about if you want to do internship with a program that is not part of your major? Is that something that's gonna work, or is just gonna be something that you have experience with?
I think that everything's open, everything's on the table. And I'm going to show you in just a minute. Let me go to the next screen, because what we're going to talk about is customizing your resume. I'll go back to those in a minute. So customizing your resume, it's all how you present your resume. So you have to look at the position description. So even if your major doesn't match the field that you want to do the internship, you have to display what skills you do have that would match the job description. So in just a second, I'm going to show you an example of a job description. Okay. So this is an example of an internship description. Let's say your major is accounting or general studies, you can still apply for this. Okay, so this is a description of every summer, the Smithsonian Environmental Research Center has this position. It really has to focus more on the environment. So the first part is telling you all about the Smithsonian Environmental Research Center, which is about 15-20 minutes away from here. They're available remote or in person, right? Edgewater is where they're located. They have summer, spring, and fall. It says they work closely with CERC scientists and staff to explore environmental science and education, complete a student-driven research project, participate in a variety of professional development and social activities, produce a short video, and share their research findings in a symposium at the conclusion of the program, right? And you're going to have a mentor also. Variety of fields such as conservation ecology, ecochemistry, invasion studies, and so on, right? These programs run from June to August. Eligibility. So a lot of times, sometimes the federal one will say whether citizenship is required or not. And there's a form you fill out as part of your application. An undergraduate, so a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior. Okay. So this is pretty vague. Anybody can apply. Even if you're not in that major, you can highlight. Maybe you did a lot of outdoor restoration experience, volunteer experience. There's always something in your resume that we can highlight that connects to the job description itself. So yes, you can, and I'd be willing to meet with anybody who's in that situation where they're in a major that's different than the one that they are applying to. It's just an issue of how we highlight your resume and your skills. So this is an example of a job description. You start with the job description, and then you highlight what's in the job description. This is an example of an email of a cover letter. There's your basic cover letter. That's basically, I'm a student at Prince George's Community College, and I'd like to apply for this internship that I saw posted on your website. I plan to graduate in May and then transfer, blah, 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 you know, that's very basic information. This one's more detailed. Let's take a look at this one. If everybody could just take a moment, I'm going to read it out loud, and then I want you to point out what you think of this cover letter. What do you think was good about it, or what do you think could be improved? So this is the format. The person puts their information at the top, just like it is on their resume. Same like cover letter had the date, the organization. If you know the name of the hire manager, put it there. Sometimes it does give you a name, and it gives you a name, especially on USAAjobs.gov. They put the name at the bottom. Put that person's name there, and then they know you read. You know, it makes that personal connection. If they don't have a name, that's fine. You can say, dear hiring manager. It's fine. I would like to apply for the summer 2023 research experience for undergraduate internship program. This spring, I will complete the final 15 credits of my associate's degree in biology from Prince George's Community College. I'm looking for a summer internship opportunity in environmental science before transferring to the University of Maryland. Okay. Participating in the REU program this summer would expose me to real life research and help me to make decisions about what track to follow for a bachelor's degree and beyond. I first became interested in environmental science because I enjoyed doing science fair projects in middle school and high school. Also, my father works as a landscaper, and I spent a lot of summer helping him on jobs. So we're getting personal here. In high school, I won an award for an experiment where I compared the rate of growth in grass that we were exposed to fertilizer to grass that was not fertilized. I have since learned in my studies here at PGC about the dangers to the Bay watershed because of fertilizer runoff. Very specific. I was interested to read on the CERC website about the various research opportunities available for the interns. From what I have read, I'm most interested in this lab. I'd also like to learn more about summer lodging available at CERC. Please contact me if you have any questions or would like to schedule an interview. Thank you for your consideration. Now, what stood out in that cover letter as a good thing? The personal connection. I definitely, and this is an above and beyond cover letter, okay? This is if you really, really want something and you put extra work in it. This makes the connection on all points. What else do you see in it? Yes.
How specific they got on what lab they wanted to be in, maybe they would be sent somewhere else and it's not even what they want to do.
That's right. They said what lab. And in fact, the instructions tell them to indicate the lab they want. So that's, you know, they read the instructions and they followed, they did what they're supposed to do. What else? In a nutshell, this kind of establishes the basic information. It tells what my future plans might be. So it shows what you're looking for in the future, right? Why would this be important to me? A lot of times the internship people want to know, why would it be important to you to do this internship? Well, this person wants to do the internship. Why does this person want to do this internship? What do they say?
That's why they want to do that.
Yeah.
To find out if that's what they really want to major in or to achieve their bachelor's degree.
This line right here, participating in this program would expose me to real life research and help me to make decisions about which. So in the cover letter, it says, why do I want this internship? Okay. So that I think that's a pretty darn good cover letter. Again, that's icing on the cake. If you're under a pressure for a deadline and you don't have time to write a cover letter like that, don't make that stop you from applying. You can just keep it simple. Okay. Academic and professional references. A lot of times, right when you apply or later on in the process, you're going to need to provide professional references. If you've had a job before, you want to make sure you leave a good rapport with that supervisor and ask that supervisor, can I use you for a reference? Okay. But I tell you what, at this stage in your career, your professors are excellent references. So right now, if you're not doing it already, engage in class. You need to find some professors who would say some nice things about you. Okay. And if you don't already have some, then you need to, that's why you need to engage in class, so they know who you are, so they know why you're here. And then if you ask a professor that you've worked your hardest with, even if you're not doing the best in the class, you've come to get help, you've shown progress, you've made a connection and asked them about their career, they will be willing to be your reference for a good while, because you're going to need them as you apply to scholarships, transfer, internship jobs. So you're going to find key people who are going to be your champions, and you're going to keep them informed about your career. You're going to develop relationships with them. They're not going to reach out to you. You have to reach out to them. And you have a license to do that because you're a student and you're going to be looking for jobs and internships and scholarships or whatever, okay? So identify 3 professionals or professors. Ask them to serve as a reference. Tell them it's the summer internship, but you want to use them later as well. It could be an advisor from a club that you're involved with, right? Send an email requesting their permission, right? And then you need to get their name, title, organization, phone number, email address. And then also I'd add, what is their relation to you? Like you could say former supervisor or math professor or computer science professor, all right? You need to know that too. Email the reference a copy of your resume and ideally the description of the job you're applying to. That way, if they get called, they have some idea of what to say, right? Include the application deadline, so they know that if they have to fill out a form on your behalf, and sometimes they do, or if they have to write a letter on your behalf, they know what date to do it by. It's not fair to them if you ask them the night before, you know. You can ask them the night before if it's just to list their name, but you can't ask them for a letter the night before. You have to give them time for that. After your references, thank them and give them feedback on how it went. Hey, thank you for being my reference. I actually got an interview, didn't work out this time, but I'd like to use your name for the next one, something like that, or hey, and then they'll be excited for you as well. Okay. So that's important to do right now. And again, you're going to keep all of this information, the name, the title, everything. You're going to keep that in your Google Docs on a page called references, and it'll update through the years, but you'll have that information. So if something an opportunity comes up, you've got it. You don't have to reinvent it or look for it. Any questions about references? Has anybody had a reference before? Yeah. Who did you use for reference?
I used a professor, English professor here. I also used someone. It's like a family friend. She works for the government. Used her, and one of the high school.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't ever use a family member though. A friend in their family, that's perfect, because you know, especially if somebody works at the place that you want to go and work at. That would be great. And when you're thinking about professors, pick a professor, if you can, pick a professor that teaches a class related to the internship. So in this case, it would be a biology professor, for example, or environmental science professor. But if you have somebody like an English professor who really knows you and knows your writing and stuff, that can apply to any, you know, it doesn't have to be something for a writer, it can be for any career field. Okay. The last thing I would want to say is notify us at the Career Center, because we want to know if you got a great internship. We want to celebrate with you. So you can email me and let us know, especially if we've helped you along the way. We really want to know if you got that internship. And we want to actually highlight you so that other students can see, hey, look what this student did. And maybe somebody will be inspired by what you did. So we definitely want to know if you get a great opportunity. The other good thing is with College Central Network, even when you leave here, if you keep your PGCC College Central Network live, we can reach you. We can see, oh my gosh, here's somebody in here who was alumni, and they are working in this career field. They're in construction management, or they're in computer engineering. And we want to find them because we want them to come back and talk to our students. So that's another good reason to be in college on that way. We can find you later on when we want to brag about you. Okay. If you have photos from your internship experience that you're allowed to share, or a quote, we'd love to show it to the student newspaper or whatever. So the Owl newspaper. So please let us know. The most important thing I can say to you is, like I said, use your spring break to get some of these documents in order. And then they'll be there, because a lot of the internships this summer, believe it or not, winter and spring is when so a lot of them have passed. Many of them are still there, so don't worry. But if you are a freshman, or if you're looking ahead to an internship your senior year or whatever, know that you can start looking as early as August, because some of the really prestigious ones end December 1st, January 1st, February 15th, in terms of the application timeframe. So you got to think a year ahead. But if you didn't do that and you need one for this summer, it's not too late by no means should you feel defeated. Plenty of opportunities still. So come to that fair. This one here. Right here. Right, and again, these are just some of the interns, the companies coming. Does anybody have any questions about? One area I didn't talk about was even the interview process. We talked about elevator, but interview is
Andrea?
a whole other phase.
Hi, Andrea. There's a question in the chat. It is asking about what kind of internship available for computer engineering majors and how can they apply for that?
Okay.
That was the question.
Yes, the same advice I gave you. Bear with me. I'm going to bring that screen up again. Just looking here at who will be there, Cloud Force is looking for computer engineers, I know, and all of these US agencies will be looking for computer engineer. Even a company like, I can't say Amtrak is looking for computer, but any big company is looking for a variety, from accounting to computer engineering, all kinds of things. So that's one thing I can tell you is that there's a few of them coming on March 30th, but even more important, these job and internship postings are where you will find them. You just have to keep searching and, maybe making that announcement so that when a posting comes open, you're the first to know. You can set that in a lot of these. Okay. So they're out there. Computer engineering is definitely out there. Cyber, they're out there. Has anybody had any experience looking and not finding? Well, I don't think so, because they're out there. If you look, you will find. Okay. What will be the benefits of doing many internships? The benefit of doing one internship gets multiplied by 2 if you do 2 internships. So it's the more opportunities while you're a student to build a network of people that you might use to get a job later. It also gives you job experience. Those 2 or 3 months that you work in the summer, guess what? If you did 2 internships, that might be 4 or 5 months of experience that you get to add to your career. And every month of experience that you have increases your salary. So doing internships in and of itself helps you to get network. It helps you to find out if this is the job you really like. or what aspect of the job you'd like to do. It sets you up with mentors for life. It sets you up with references for the future. And it increases your salary, your offering pay when you graduate. Because instead of being somebody who is applying for a job as a new graduate, yeah, I have a degree, but I have zero experience. The pay you get offered versus the person who says, oh yeah, I have a degree and I have 6 months of experience or 3 months of experience. That pay goes up in increments. So that's another good reason to do an internship. Okay, what if I don't, oops, there was one of, what if I don't have any experience to add to my resume? Don't worry, put what you do have, focus on your relevant coursework. So you can focus on your volunteer work, right? You can focus on your skills that you learn. So really highlight your skills. If you don't have experience, highlight your education, your skills, any certificates you've done, all right? Yeah, how do you get a job if you don't have experience? You do an internship, and that's how you get experience. What else? What other questions we have? Quite a few. Let me go back in the. Please, do you know of an internship? Can't quite read it. Available that will be best for mechanical engineering students. I would say I don't have off the top of my head an example of one, but boy, they're out there. All you have to do is go to LinkedIn, mechanical engineering internships, see what you find. You know, I'd be happy to help you search for them. I don't know any off the top of my head at this moment, but you could even look for you know, the Society of Mechanical Engineers and go read their webpage and see if there's something on there. Lots of different ways. I'm somebody who is doing general studies and I'm still a bit undecided. Would this make it more difficult for me to get an internship? Not if you highlight, if you look at the job description and you highlight what skills you do have that match that job description. So I think they're out there. There's opportunities out there. Don't worry about general studies. And you can highlight the courses you've taken. So if it's a highly technical and you have some computer technical skills, highlight those skills. Next question. I think that's it. All right. So let me give you my information again, just so you have it. Internships. Whoops. Sorry, it's just taking its time here. Right there at the bottom, internships at pgcc.edu. You can say, I was at your session, I have a question. You can go on to navigate and request an appointment with me, Andrea Willey. I only ask that when you come to that appointment, you come prepared with at least a draft resume and maybe having looked at some internship opportunities to get an idea of what's out there. Don't come to me without a resume and never even look for an internship because that's just a waste of both of our time. Okay. Any other questions on your end on the virtual world?
I think that was the questions. I think every questions was answered already. I think we are also about to get to the end.
Okay.
The time is limited.
Yes. Yes, I will log off now. And
so so first of all, actually, I would like to thank Miss Andrea Willey again for being here with us. I think you shared lots of information with our students. Even I was not aware about some of the information. So now I know I can share with my students and then with even other students I know, because I know they are looking for internships and they don't know how to apply. So this is a wonderful session for our students. I think our students got lots of information from you today. Thank you so much for that.
Great.
And
And I
then-
hope to see everybody at the virtual career and internship networking event, March 30th.
Right. And also I would like to thank our students. I think they were asking lots of questions because they are very interested about this topic. I hope they got the information they needed by being here today. So we would like to continue with those things throughout the years. And then we also have STEM Collegiate Center. They are also sharing internships. So thank you so much again for being here. So we value always your time and the effort. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone, please don't forget to fill the survey. Link is available in the chat.